Dun, 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 dun. God save our Queen. Yes, my folks, welcome to the Chair Reviews. This week, a Brit Special. A little taste of the old home flavour. Welcome, and I'll tell you why I'm doing it. Greetings, dear boy, greetings. Let's do a bit of lager today. Not English lager, unfortunately. Wish we made a good one. But it's not. So there we go. It's Belgian. Right. But it's a Brit Special. And I'll tell you why. Well, fortune, really. But this week, Georgie Porgy, Puddin' and Pie, kissed the film industry and didn't make them cry. He kissed them with a little booster to tax relief on films. Now, over the years, back in the 70s, the UK film industry, essentially London-based studios, was just going like a rocket. Star Wars made here, Superman made here, Indiana Jones made here, Pinewood Studios, massive, Bond always made at Shepperton Studios, just huge. We were going great guns. But boom! I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think Thatcher cut a lot of the film perks. And the reason that those films made were here, all the directors will tell you, amazing technical crew, just fantastic. But money talks, bullshit walks back to LA or goes to Slovenia. The reason was money. And Georgie Boy, since the Tories have got into power, since the last government got into power, in fact, the film industry's been a bit worried. There's been a 20% tax break on film productions in this country. And everyone was worried because it's the Tories and they're not so big on the arts, or don't seem to be so, that they would cut that. But George is a money man. Well, he is. He's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. But he has now not only kept up with those tax breaks that he thought were going to happen, but he's actually increased them to 25%. Here's to George. You may not like it, you may not like the government, but I'm talking about films, and that is bloody good. Cheers, Georgie. So, what better time to do a Brit film special, because we do make some bloody terrific films. And I hope that not only, lots of American films get made here, similar to the ones I've just met. And we've had all the Harry Potters, all the James Bond still, all the Avengers films, Gravity. They're all made here because of these tax breaks, really. And because of the just fantastic crews that we have here. This is going to continue now for the next 5 years at least. And it's really a positive thing. So, as I say, what better time to do a little bit of Brit films? And it just so happened that all my DVDs and cinema experiences were British films. I'm rolling this into a little bit of a special, just a little throwback to the old format for my little brother especially. Love you, Ted. So here we go. Now, a while back, I spoke to you about this film, Coherence. A pretty damn fine indie American sci-fi film. Lots of thought, not lots of budget. Now, the film I'm going to talk about now is Frequencies, which is... it's not a version of that film, but it's kind of the nearest brother to it. It's a film that... it's a very, very low-budget indie flick. Made by Brit Film Enterprises or whatever they're called. Brit Film Incorporated. Brit Film... them. But, and it's a film that starts off in a school, but a little bit of plot. Basically stars a cast of unknowns. But it starts off in this school with these two children coming together, and the other children around them. They've just received some test scores. She's 127, he's minus 32 or something. And they stand together and they say, we've only got 1 minute together before something really, really bad happens. And as the film goes on, in the first roll of the dice, which is an apt phrase, you realise that those scores are about luck. And in this universe, luck is a quantifiable factor. she's a 127. She's one of the luckiest people around. You know, everything will fall her way. And there are some ingenious ways of showing that. You know, she just walks along, finds £20, goes to buy something, it costs £20. There's a point later in the film where she misses a train and she says, I've never missed a train before. And I'll give you a little bit of the whys. He's really unlucky, obviously. And he's at this public school, and you go through a series of interviews with parents and teachers. The teachers don't want him there. They say, well, we've paid for him to be there. And then you vault on very many years later, or, well, not very many, like a few, and you kind of meet them at regular or irregular intervals, but sporadic intervals, where they tried to meet up. And one of the things for him, he's unlucky, but he's very emotional and still intelligent. He's just very unlucky. She can't feel anything. She has no emotions. And you progress through their kind of adolescence, and they're still trying to meet each other. And yeah, and then it progresses. Yeah, I don't want to tell you too much more, but it's a fascinating universe that this is built, and it's also filmed in a fascinating way. Lots of POV shots of faces, smiles. It doesn't feel amateur. It feels really engaging. I was straight away going, I really fancy this. This is good. This film's got ideas, and it's also got ideas about how to film those ideas. It's well played by a cast of unknowns, as I say. And yeah, and you go through their adolescence, and then you get a little bit into their adulthood, and certain other factors start to come in. So there's the luck thing. There are more things at work than just this luck thing. I won't say any more than that because it builds up and builds up and builds up. It's intriguing. It's well played. I enjoyed it a lot. If my criticism would be, obviously there's budgetary, but you know, it didn't ever bother me. There are perhaps too many ideas, I would say, coming. This guy, it's Darren Paul Fisher is the director, and he directed The Inbetweeners, actually. I think it's him and another person. Might just be him, though. Sorry about the lack of specificity there. But he was one of the directors of The Inbetweeners, which will come up later. It's a good film. It's a rewarding experience. It's full of ideas. It's full of thought. It's really well played. It's a throne. Well done for the British. Doo-doo! It's a throne. Definitely worth seeing. Frequencies. Good start for the Brits, eh? Good start for the Brits. So I saw that on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I went to see the Bad Education movie. Directed by Elliot Hegarty, who's done a load of TV stuff. I saw the trailer for this and I thought, hey, that looks quite a laugh. I'm quite a big fan of Jack Whitehall. I think in Fresh Meat, he's really, really good. And I've seen his interviews about this film, and he has said, ooh, I haven't gone down. He has talked about The Inbetweeners. Just talking about, I told you it would come up, didn't I? It has. He was talking about The Inbetweeners and Alan Partridge and how they have done, they've created brilliant cinematic, according to your opinion, but I think fairly well received, and money making ventures into cinema from TV serials. Both of those films, both The Inbetweeners I like a lot. Partridge, it's Partridge. The thing about those films is they have great characters. They have really, really, really great characters. Whitehall, I think, is a good character. This Bad Education, obviously, yeah, it's a TV serial as well. And it is a progression of his posh sod persona on TV. One that in Fresh Meat he did with a little more of a caustic vibe. And in this Bad Education, which I haven't seen the serial of, he's doing again. So, the plot is they go on holiday to Cornwall. He takes his kids on holiday. And they get mixed up in some shenanigans. Some of them get quite severe. Now, those films that I mentioned before and that he mentioned have great characters. I like Jack Whitehall. Is this teacher a really great character? No. He's quite a thin development of Jack Whitehall's character. Again, who can deliver a line, who is funny. What? Look. So early on, yeah, okay. early on, there's a zipline joke where one of the kids pulls his pants down and sends him on a zipline. And if you've seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, there's an absolutely fantastic bit where there are two little characters, Bill and Ted, falling down to hell going, ah, shouting. And you see them really, really tiny, and it's bloody dead funny. And because they fall down for ages. They do a similar thing in this with a zip line with Jack Whitehall going, ah, of course. And I laughed out loud then. I went, ha ha ha, this is going to be alright. This is going to be alright. Yeah, a little bit of a setup. A little bit more setup. They go on holiday to Cornwall, and there's an evil mum played by the woman from the thick of it, the secretary or the civil servant. And she's a haughty mum out to get him. And every time the camera goes up to her and she's going, I'm going to get you. And right now I'm going to release myself. Because this is a low stuff. This is written. The writers of Heidi High would have gone, oh, come on, this is low-brow stuff. This is shit. It's directed in a way that is televisual. The camera doesn't move until the last 5 minutes of the film, where something happens that's vaguely cinematic. This is so uncinematic. It's poorly written. It's just embarrassing. It makes you, like tickling hemorrhoids is more fun. It's so badly done. The acting of the kids, they're leaden. Not all the time. There's a lot of reaction shots, like a joke is made, and they do and it's school play stuff. It would make little Nathan at the nativity play, you'd be ashamed of him if he pulled off these sorts of manoeuvres. It's badly written. It's not funny. It features stereotypes that are just... It's shit. It's shit. I sat there, stony-faced, for an hour and a half, or whatever it is. Hang on. Stony-faced. And at the beginning of this film, some drunken teens came in behind me, and I just thought, oh God, they're going to be awful, aren't they? It's not just me being an old guy. They were absolutely silent through the film. And as I came out, someone just went, that was awful. It's pathetic. It's a shit, pathetic excuse for a film. Now, the only reason I'll save it from absolute ignominy is, I mean, it should be, wow. I'm getting lost. But the shots are so bad. Just everything in it so bad. The only thing that saves it is Jack Whitehall. I still do like him. He still can deliver a line. There's this lame part story about his posh friends not really being his friends. That's taken from Fresh Meat, by the way. But it's so awful. It's so lunkenly delivered. It's so heavy-handedly played. It's excrement. It is excrement. It's two poos. It's two stools. The only reason saving it is because I laughed a couple of times, and I do like Jack Whitehall. I was tempted by a three thrown. There was one really funny joke at the end, and I went, oh, all right then. But I just watched it straight faced. I wanted it to end. It's pathetic. Shame on the Brits. Poo on the Brits. Poo on them. Don't let these people do this again. I think that series has only been on recently. They've done this very quickly. It's shit. You might want... It's not a laugh to see. It's as funny as Battlefield Earth. This is not funny. Right then. Let's go on for one last Brit film. And that is Hyena. Hyenas. You all know them. They run in packs. What happens when they get separated from the pack? What happens? I'll tell you what happens if one of them is a policeman, played by Peter Ferdinando. He sounds like an Italian, doesn't he? But he's very English. So this is directed by Gerard Johnson, whose only other film is called Tony, which is about a really mundane serial killer, also played by Peter Ferdinando. So he's obviously his muse. I haven't seen that, but it got quite well received, and I would like to see it. But this is about bank coppers in London, and he is the bank copper, the head of a task force. And he gets embroiled in shenanigans with some Albanian sex traffickers and drug dealers. And yeah, that's kind of the story really. And you know, you're watching him, you know, is he going to go off the rails? He's already off the rails at the beginning. It's very well filmed. It's very, very well filmed. It starts off with this hit of the coppers going into this nightclub and stealing loads of drugs and smashing people in the face and nicking stuff and then doing lots of drugs. It's got a brilliant score that starts off there by It starts off there and it carries on through the film. At very, very important times, the score is brilliant. Very, very effective. I don't talk about scores enough. It does make me angry when I watch these back. But yeah, it's very, very well filmed. Quite a verite, almost verite. You know, you're following people through the seedy parts of London, like grocery shops, and at the back there's a porn palace. You're in the seedy parts of London. Very, very well chosen locales to shoot. You're watching people discussing drug deals where the Millennium, the London Eye is like way in the distance, giving you that, you know, quite obvious thing that London's over there for the tourists. This is the scum shit part of London. And yet they never make it look scummy. They just make it, it's just normal. This is the place, you know. This is the underbelly of London. This is what you don't want to see. But where people are walking by just normally. It's got some fantastic performances. Peter Ferdinando being the main one. He is brilliant as this coked up, really, really troubled guy. That's kind of a cliche maybe, but the performance is good enough to, you know, to escape it. His surrounding coppers reminded me of ID a little bit, because they're a task force and they're all like into it as well, and they're like real wankers. Yeah, just basically arseholes. Danny Graham's in it from This Is England. Stephen Graham from This Is England and Snatch. He's very good. You know, the Scouse guy, the quite thick-set, tan Scouse guy. He's really good as his DI. He's got this thing going on with this investigating policeman as well that might be in trouble. Things go off the rails. It reminds me a little bit of Long Good Friday as well. Oh, I just had this handy here. The Long Good Friday, which is a fantastic film. You should see that, definitely. Bob Hoskins is best. But it reminded me of that because he's trying to find out, he's trying to sort of squirm between certain things, trying to find out what's going on, why things are happening. This film, very well shot, as I said. Let me just have a little sip. It's also totally brutal. It's an 18 and not for no reason. I'm talking machete brutal. There are scenes in this of things done to women where you watch with the face going, oh, I don't want to see that. That's bad. That is actually bad. Not necessarily bloody, just abuse. And it's horrible, and it feels like these places might be real, and we know that they are. I think on occasion that the story, the copper, some of the scenes go a little bit too far with the actions of the police. A little bit too much histrionic, a little too histrionic. And you kind of think, well, I'm not sure that's going to happen. But it's always tense. There's a brilliantly tense scene in a flat. Well, afterwards, there's a scene with him running that echoes Truffaut's 400 Blows, where the little boy's running along. And it's got this brilliantly scored scene where he's running along this tracking shot, watching someone. It's not always used, and it's a really effective piece. It always reminds you of the 400 Blows. It always reminds me of the 400 Blows. But it's very, very impressively done. The whole film is, as I say, it is not for the weak stomach. It's a tough film to watch. But it is worth watching. It's a bloody, bloody good film. Perhaps not doing anything completely original in terms of bank coppers and criminals, but it's executed brilliantly. It's in the execution. Execute them! It's all in the execution. It's 2 thrones for Hyena. Very tense, very enjoyable, and luckily ending on a good note for the Brits, hey? Because that's where it's at. Film 4's where it's at. Let's have no more bad educations, because that's not where we want to go. We don't want to be in the hello land. It's last of the summer wine crap. Let's stick with the hyenas. Let's stick with the frequencies. Let's give our boys a little more push. Let's go. That's the end of the Brit Special. I thank you for joining me. it's been grand. Well, to the Queen.
To the Queen.